Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business. Looking forward to talking to Deb Lapin. Deb, it's great to connect with you. Looking forward to our talk. You are a shareholder, an attorney at Maddin Hauser. We're going to get into that and talk about all of that. But where I really want to start the conversation is if someone were to go to maddinhauser.com, look at your bio, the first thing it says is, I always wanted to be a lawyer. And that's where I want to start. Because when I was 18 years old, my dad gave me a set of tape sets by Brian Tracy called The Psychology of Success. And he said to me, Jonathan, I think I was about to go to college. I think you'll learn more from these tapes and these types of books and these types of people than you will college. That being said, if you get anything less than a C, I'm pulling you out of college and not paying for it. But I think you'll get more from these. And I remember very clearly, I'm 53, being 18 years old, putting on my Walkman and thinking, wow, this really resonates with me. I felt an instant connection. And I thought, I want to be a business coach. I want to help grow companies. I mean, my journey didn't, I wasn't that directly out of college, but for the last 10 years, that's what I've been doing. But the seed was planted then. And so when so how did you know you always wanted to be a lawyer?
Well, I would say it didn't start, say, at like age 10 or something like that. It probably became more evident in college. And
Yeah.
I'll date myself here too, John. It probably had a lot to do with watching TV shows of the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Like LA Law and even like WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Seriously, things like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
it looks fun. It just looks like, especially because when I started, my real first practice was in criminal law, and it just looks like it's exciting. I like to talk to people. And as I was going through college, I'm like, I can't see myself going into a career and having to sit at a desk directly from college. And I like going to school and then just, taking some pre-law classes in college just kind of more piqued my interest. And and I've always liked just working with people, and doing litigation that's the icing on the cake. That's as a lawyer, there's no better way to deal with people.
What is it about litigation? I know you don't like to sit behind a desk, and I want to get to that, but I want to back up for just one more second. What was it about the energy of watching the show? Right. I mean, I remember when I was listening to these tapes, that's one of the first things I heard Brian Tracy say was, if somebody else has done it, then that means you can do it. I was like, oh, that seems so simple. And my parents raised me that way. But sometimes, you hear things from somebody else and it just opens up another portal to think to yourself, oh, wow. And that I started an internet company out of college, and that kind of, even when I knew nothing about technology or the internet, it was like, somebody else has started a company, so can I, it was like that. So what was it? Was it something you heard? Was it the energy of how they walked? I mean, like, what was it?
It was really just the energy of a courtroom as almost like a living, breathing entity.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what's going to happen in there. You can be prepared. And I've learned this through practice. You're prepared. And you go in and you think your argument is going to go one way and it goes a different way. Plus, just the things that you can't even control in the courtroom about what could be going on other cases, and just the moods and the personalities of everybody else. I think it was just the energy. It is really what captured me. And just also the underlying thing, always a love of sports since I was a little kid. Acting on behalf of the underdog and being able to go and present a position on somebody. I guess maybe they don't always have to be the underdog, but presenting a position on behalf of a client and seeing that being done on the shows and done in a persuasive way. Exactly what you said. Oh, if they can do that, I can do that.
It's what draws you to help the underdog? Where have you felt like the underdog in your life that, it kind of brings it forward?
I don't really think that. I just think it probably in sports and just being, I'm on the smaller side. I always played softball, and I always thought, and I could see this actually with one of my daughters too, you're undervalued or underestimated when you're a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And so just being able to go out and prove people wrong and show people that, yeah, may not have a lot of belief in you that you can do something, is really where it comes from, but really from sports, and it really comes from too, and I've told you before, growing up on the East Coast and being a New York Mets fan,
Yeah.
and probably the most, you know, trashed upon team, if you will, in the 80s when I was really growing up, and early 90s, in comparison to the New York Yankees. And I think if you're a Mets fan, you're almost an inherent rooter of underdogs.
Yeah. Yeah. I could point to multiple shows where that is the joke. But I just want to talk about the edge of that, right? Sometimes being underestimated is an advantage. It pushes us. Sometimes the B athletes are better than the A athletes. In the sense of when it doesn't come easily and people have low expectations, it does. And I know for me, I could point to a lot of stories where I have felt undervalued, underestimated, and it has fueled me. It has given me that, what I would call a healthy chip, the drive, so how have you seen that kind of, in your world?
But I think you said it perfectly, the healthy chip. And just some examples of having some cases in the last couple of years against very big national law firms where they probably have like 3 or 4 people working on a brief and going into court being ready to argue, and you'll go in and they'll have like 2 lawyers there, and I'm going in by myself, and thinking to myself, oh, the expectation, and the judge probably thinks too, oh, they're probably have put out a better product and they're going to be more persuasive in their argument. And that's absolutely not the case. That I think here, just myself and the firm, we are so much better. And I think maybe we do have the healthy chips. I don't know, but I just think I can out prepare, maybe outthink, be more creative than some of those big firms. And I see the results of court in my writing and in my oral argument. And I guess also too, I won't take a result for granted.
Yeah.
And maybe the other firms or lawyers might do that, but I'll approach every case is, I don't care now where the other side is coming from or who they are or how much they can bill per hour.
Yeah.
I know I can do just as good a job or probably better.
I love it. But I want to kind of talk about that a little bit. And I want to talk a little bit about that in sports and some of the, as you've mentioned, a lot about sports today. So one of my favorite books, I'm a big reader, big Audible, big reader, big podcast listener. But one of my all-time favorite books is a book that takes about 5 minutes to read, by Michael Jordan. And it's called I Can't Accept Not Trying. I don't know if have you ever read it?
I have not.
Okay, so it's like this little book. It literally takes 5 minutes. But one of the key things that he talks about in the book is the importance of mastering fundamentals. And in it, I'm kind of paraphrasing. He talks about how, for all practical purposes, Larry Bird was not the natural born athlete, but because he focused on the fundamentals, he could always grow his craft, where if there were young kids that did not master the fundamentals, but got far by their talent, they began to find a ceiling because they couldn't go back and master fundamentals that they missed. And so what I'm hearing you talk about is outplan, outthink. I mean, now we're talking about fundamental things that most people, I would say, miss. The fundamentals: over preparing, being organized, I'm a big fan of over preparing, so it looks like I'm winging it. But behind the look like I'm winging it is tons of hours. And so just talk about, if you can, highlight the fundamentals of what you're talking about and why it's so important in just growth.
No, I agree with that. I think too, again, it goes to taking things for granted. And I think you'll get a matter and you may have handled a similar matter 100 times, but I don't take anything for granted. You have to approach each matter um, as brand new and fresh, and don't leave any stone unturned. And I think that's what I see sometimes happening on the other side. And God, I can think of like 5 cases probably in the last month or so where I get it. I'm like, okay, on its face, it looks like I'm going to need to do X, Y, and Z. And then you just have to really look at things. You're like, uh-oh, no, this one is a little bit different. I'm not going to be able to do this, but now I can do this. So it's not taking anything for granted. It's looking at every single case as though it's brand new and you've never seen it before. And making sure you've seen all the documents, covering all the bases, and that you have everything that you need. You can't assume, okay, well, if it says this, then I assume that that's all the client has given. The client may have given more, or we may have more information at hand. So it's just really the fresh approach to every new matter.
And one thing I'll add on to that is the importance of doing things in a timely manner, so you have time to put it away and then look at it. Whether it's 1 hour later, 24 hours later, and infusing time to pause and reflect and be still and think, because sometimes after people do things, you need time to let it kind of process, so you can really tap into your instincts. I find this when I'm coaching people, and I find it for myself as well. The moments when you're silent and take that pause, you can instinctually remember, oh wait, something's missing over here. And so I think all of that is really important. I want to stay on the concept of and the theme of fundamentals. You talking about being a litigator, going into a courtroom, being able to be so prepared that when things change in real time, you are ready. And so right now and they've been talking about this for some time, AI is changing the game on many levels. But one of the things, a driving thing that people are talking about and have been for some time, is in order to stay in front of it as human beings, we need to really grow what is called the AQ, right? Most people know about their IQ, EQ, emotional intelligence, but the AQ is adaptability quotient. How are you training yourself to adapt? There's been articles I've read for many years talking about how colleges are having a hard time teaching students into a job force that they don't know what the jobs necessarily are yet. And so how are they now shifting to teach adaptability? And so when we're talking about fundamentals and being over-prepared, being a litigator, walking into the courtroom, you're walking in, Matlock, right? And then you realize everything changed because you prepared. Talk about adaptability in your world, in your field, in your industry, and what that looks like.
Well, just the AI component, first of all, that's such a slippery slope anyway in the legal practice that I don't think people are, I read almost daily that lawyers are getting sanctioned for relying on that. And we had a case in our firm where a lawyer on the other side cited a case that couldn't be found. And we let the court know that, and they called out the lawyer on it. But I think it just goes back to
what was it, an AI hallucination? It just they call it right, because AI is not 100%, so it could, based on information that you give it, it could give you something that needs to be fact checked.
A case was cited, it could not be found.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where they got it from, and that he had to respond to the court, the attorney on the other side, and he did not explain where he found it. He just apologized. And the court didn't go any further, but it
Right.
just it shows you the danger of it.
Yeah.
But I think adaptability goes hand in hand with over preparedness. If you are well prepared, you are going to be able to think on your feet. You're going to be able to anticipate every argument and that's thrown at you from opposing counsel or the court. And again, so it just goes back to that real grassroots over preparedness.
Yeah. 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 It's, I think it's something that is, I think it's something that we all like, I love the word anticipate, right? Because we have to be prepared, and anticipate what's going to happen, forecasting, so we can reverse engineer, being over prepared. Wayne Gretzky, he skates to where the puck is going, not where it's been. It's knowing what's about to happen. I look at it sometimes, you're behind real time, in real time, ahead of real time. And so we need to be ahead of real time to say, hey, the way people are walking, something's changing. And so you got to be ready to make that change.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you have your initial skill set down, that's part of the being prepared, is that you are anticipating everything that can come the day of, even, and looking up cases, maybe the day of an argument, to see if things have changed or a case has been overruled. But I approach it, I always like to think, all right, going into an oral argument or maybe writing a brief in preparation of oral argument, if I'm the judge, what am I going to be looking at here?
Yeah.
What kind of things are going to be important to me? And of course, anticipating what the other side is going to argue.
Yeah.
So again, anticipation.
I love it. Deb, let's do a quick speed round. A book, a TED Talk, an article that's had a big impact on you.
Wow. Now, I really like, I don't know, old school books, like biographies.
Yeah,
And
I love biographies.
I'll tell you one that for whatever reason, and I like U.S. presidents, and I like U.S. history and World War II history. Just books, probably. I can't remember. Maybe it's called The Longest Day. It's by Stephen Ambrose. It's about D-Day. Another book that really sticks out to me about history is the Ulysses Grant biography by Ron Chernow.
Yeah.
I don't know why, what an interesting guy and what he went through. Similar biographies about Dwight Eisenhower and Harry Truman are actually books that really stick out to me.
Yeah. So I'm obsessed with biographies right now. And I'm dyslexic. So reading, to me, like when people say, like, oh, that book, I'm the slowest reader. I legitimately am the slowest reader. And so I listen to more than I read now, because I can retain it at a very high level and I can get through it pretty fast. But I've always wanted to sit down and read biography after biography after biography. And so now I kind of can, with my favorite podcast called Founders, where he reads every autobiography and then does a 1 to 1.5 hour talk on each of it, and then brings in other founders. It's brilliant. I'll send you the link, but it's my favorite. It's great. I learn so much every day. I listen to it every day. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to look into that, but I really, you should read that Ulysses Grant book.
Yeah, he's probably done whatchamacallit. I'll check it out for sure. Yeah. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Just be true to yourself, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. And as long as you feel like you're doing what is right, whatever you do, it is the right decision. And don't be pressured by anybody else. Do what you feel is correct and appropriate to your core.
Yeah. Intent is so important, to pause and set intention and things of that nature. I love that. Last question. Finish your sentence. One thing everybody can do today to be more fundamentally sound is?
Well, I think in discussing with you, I think take a moment to reflect.
Yeah.
Right? To really sit down and think about what you need to do to get through the day or next tasks, and taking just a couple minutes to clear your head and thinking that, then you're going to be more productive when you actually approach those tasks.
Yeah. Time to recalibrate is so important. Deb, tell everybody who your ideal clients are, who you work with, and where they can connect with you.
Sure. So I do, the majority of my work is on behalf of mortgage servicers and lenders in the litigation context. Also real property disputes, title disputes. And the best way to reach out to me would be connecting with my on our website, my email, or on LinkedIn.
Which is maddinhauser.com.
Yes, maddinhauser.com, and Deb Lapin or D Lapin at maddinhauser.com.
All right. That's great. Think community, I just want to kind of highlight a couple of things that Deb shared, which I think are really important as we look at the fundamentals of our business. The importance of over preparing, overthinking, and anticipating, and then reverse engineering that. I'm layering in a couple of my own thoughts, reverse engineering all of that, and really carving out time blocking and making the time to be prepared. There's nothing worse than getting to a meeting, getting to a fill in the blank, and realizing that you should have prepared more and that you're not ready. Today, the world is moving way too fast. You got to be ready to adapt and pivot and move as things change, as the personalities around you may change. With business today, because of just all of different factors that are going on, just things can change overnight. So you got to be ready to think and strategize, ask the questions, and be ready across the board. Deb, you showcased a lot of that. You do all of that. So I appreciate you taking time to be on the podcast today. Think community, you can reach Deb at maddinhauser.com. And if you need me for any coaching, you can reach me at johnswaskin.com. Any closing thoughts, Deb?
No, John, I love how you just summarized it. Over preparation, anticipation, and adaptability. Yeah. That's a key.
Correct.
Not just to the legal practice, but to any sort of business.
To anything. We go back to what Michael Jordan said, and you look at any athlete, you look at any sports team, you look at any sound business person, they are fundamentally sound.
Yep.
And that's the key. There's no shortcuts, and you highlighted that today. So thank you so much. Think community, no shortcuts. Thanks everybody. Deb, stay on for a minute.
All right.
Thanks everybody. Appreciate it.